Am I recording? Okay. Welcome back to another game of Disco Elysium. I'm Watertoad. Okay, apa buat sini? Oh ya, sebelum masuk ke sini dalam, I guess.
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you?
Investigate the doomed commercial area. Ada cakap ada orang gila tinggal sana, chimney dia lah. Yang basically lah. Tidak tahu lah dia cakap apa. Dia cakap.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtain. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards, your shadow looming over it like an omen.
Oh!
Ada apa di sini nih? Iya. Ghostly silhouettes of hair dryers. Ada orang gila dia cakap. Dia tau lah, dia cakap hantu tapi that unmanly haircut threatens your masculinity.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked.
Oh no. Unlock the... Oh, the key. Okay.
After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room.
Detective, you're the one in charge.
So... Apa ini? Ada orang, ada rumah.
What is this place?
Guess that looks like a gym to me. Ya, macam gym.
Yes, but no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. We should find a flashlight if we want to go on. There should be one in my kinema.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a faint beam of daylight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark.
Dia mau ambil torchlight
An
lagi.
eerie feeling rises in your chest.
What if there's a reason why no one has been here for ages?
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now, let's go get the flashlight, shall we?
And is stripping from the punch bag. It smells like leather and sweat. The poster says city's footage, the rest is worn off.
It's dark. This would be a lot easier. I've got one in the kinema's toolbox. We should go back for it before we continue. No sense in tripping around in the darkness.
Some areas are inaccessible without your flashlight. After you've acquired...
It's dark. This would... I've got one.
Some areas...
Okay lah, ambil aja lah flashlight.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
Side six.
A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tools, like some men are.
He's clearly a little protective of his tools. But what can you do? Work is work. It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue. Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest.
Okay. Man from Hilmdal and the Wildfire. Okay, cara mau guna.
It's dark, and the flashlight works a lot better if you hold it in your hand. Right, now let's get to it.
Some areas are...
Oh. Ada flashlight, suara gym di sini nih. Confirm ada orang gila di sini. Yeah, ada duit. But where are the clothes it used to display? Blue velvet, softer touch, moth bitten. Okay, apa lagi ada di sini nih? What is this? Wih gila, mahal juga tuh. Boleh jual nih kan? 50 ringgit, gila. Kalau boleh banyak kali tidur sana, apa tuh hotel kalau gitu.
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board.
Inspect the drawings.
These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins, casting wax-based magic, translucent welkins, with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins, hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. no longer a mere man, but a Welkin. One of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Tuareg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures.
Ito yung...
Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game.
Yeah.
This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real.
Them is a Welkin supremacist.
Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
Pelik juga lah
And for
rasa.
what? All gone. The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. Minimi stands for a mini meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." The full text reads, "Heat death of the universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s."
Gila apa benda ni semua ni? Macam ajaran sesat ke apa nih? Lagi tempat sebelum cek sini ada lagi, ada besar nih tempat sekali. She's in a bit of melting snow. Kiln doll. Cek lagi di sini, kadang sebelum cek lagi. Ini semua ini.
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same Slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is ruthless.
Itu yang membuat kereta apa? Okay, so nothing here, I guess.
This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kajran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic.
I don't know what kind of music tiles are supposed to look like.
History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled The Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station. They must have had massive air width. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important, the leader of a massive on-air game built by these people. A conductor for the hundreds of story threads that pass through the Game Master's frequency. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like a list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi, Insulinda, Kotla, Grad, Samara. All of this is gone. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became.
The cost of air width must have been huge.
Exactly. This schedule, I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble.
Oh, naik level. Apa tuh interface tuh? Ah. Nggak usah kesini. Puppet Master. Oke, so bisa cek sini. Ini bisa ngecek tapi tidak. Apa nih? Itu tapi Dites-moi d'où il vient. Enfin, il serait je Townhausen ko bla 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 bla. Jadi chimney sudah kan ya? Besar tempatnya. there's a hidden doorway here. Yeah, how am I supposed to get over there? Oh. Tourist rifles are even operable. Inoperable. Kaka gitu.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads off into the darkness, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby.
Don't rip the red one out. You'll awaken the ghosts.
Unplug the giant red key.
Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has one cable missing. Somewhere, a machine hums along with the current, happy and contented.
Sarang di tempat, saya temen pergi, saya try cek yang satu lagi tuh. Ada pintu lagi yang mana tuh? Nanina lagi apa benda ni nani?
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic.
Oh,
The 15th Indo tribe. Because there was. The 15th Indo tribe was comprised of 8 kids from Forberg and North Jamrock, running from wild dogs in the valley, hiding scents under rocks, and stealing clothes off clotheslines, and sometimes even the copper wiring of phone lines. You may have been one of them. This must be a childhood memory. The 15th Indo tribe was your Indo tribe, set to rule in Cylinder. The rest of the kids are dead now. Car accidents and drug overdoses. Only you remain.
wow, jadi habis sudah. Ini bukan Poben nih kan?
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs, the echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying.
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
Saya jauh lagi jauh. Untuk
The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Someone who owns a radio computer? My guess is as good as yours, officer.
Which is to say, not very good.
It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer.
It's like the production schedule you found. Only this one's an off-site copy.
Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on the filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge.
Didn't you see one right next to the breaker box?
Saya tanya tadi where the frozen ice cream maker could be. Saya datang dari mana? Saya datang dari sana. Udah, hampir 4 sudah balik nih.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then, you've awakened the entity.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs, the sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient.
You feel the spirit of Ramut Karzai,
Ancient hero of Grad, pulsing through you. All that's left is to cover your face in war paint. Yes,
Apa-apa.
how grown up. The lieutenant seems relieved as well.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts. You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm, your jaw. Yeah, screaming isn't happening on account of extreme shortness of breath. There's no shame in surrendering now. Cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the
What the heck was that? Oh, begitu kalau aku mati. Ditandang sampai mati. Gila.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. You muster all your strength, your dehydrated lifetime, the chatter from then again.
Maybe you should let your...
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace. You muster all your strength, your dehydrated, then again.
Looks like it. No one has used it in ages.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the... Something.
Hello?
You've awakened the entity.
Hello?
You hear...
After you, officer.
A lush, you feel the spirit of Ramut Karzai. Yes, the lieutenant seems relieved as well.
You're right.
Always has to be the skeptic, this...
Terus mati kalau saya tandang. Tapi datang dari sini betul kan berarti dapat naik sudah. Oh. Itu pula.
This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just... This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120. Equipped...
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? No, that's not it. I think
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted...
it looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
Through call-in stations. None of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interisolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
Tapi ini time yang sekarang nih, yang time dulu kah, yang time apa? Modern sudah. Sekarang saya mau buat video game kayaknya.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... Yes, especially in here. Okay, let's keep moving.
Tiles on the cube are stiff like a smooth draw. The filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Have you stirred the ghost of the doomed commercial area from its rest? Could this be its dismembered heart beginning to flutter? The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. That was a question. Have you inserted it? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved. You should ask her for a hint.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Good. Still no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder Fortress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received.
Don't worry.
Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station. I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
Doesn't it get lonely, sitting there all by herself?
Lonely? Why would it get lonely? I get to talk to people all day.
That's why she does this.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine. Nothing happens. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. Nothing. Something's missing. There's no tape in the player.
Virtual betul saya rasa. Apa macam saya mau nih.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the Legion.
Sebelum
As
tuh,
you wish.
sebelum tuh saya cek ulang satu tuh.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. No, this is going to need something else. Some kind of super pry bar. Don't even try to open it with a regular pry bar. You're just wasting your time.
I have a pry bar in my kinema, in case you want to try again.
Nanti lah. Sini yang sebelum pergi nih kan. Oh, ini dibawa. Terus jalan sini ada lagi kan foto. Oh, di sini. 사랑했다. 사랑했다. 나나나나나.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. So what kind...
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps she's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the Legion.
Yes, Amelie is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind?
But dice.
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Answers? How strange. These days people only come to me for dice and role-playing games. I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but go ahead and ask.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shelves like stalagmites. This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? All right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in racks? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
I was just about to ask, what do you think?
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Is it now? I've always thought it's a rather mundane and boring place with no supernatural surprises in sight. Well, if you ever find a way to explain all those inconsistencies in the curse, let me know.
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see. Blaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a Sub Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. Good.
Tanya
I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
Yang 3 lah.
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids, and lately I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? I'm listening. Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls. Fritta does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed, and eventually Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants.
Sounds cool.
Megatherion, very cool. I don't want to.
Megatherion, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you by telling you to do more drugs, most.
The horrific necktie tightens around your neck, strangely excited. But it doesn't feel particularly fun this time around.
What? No, officer. I don't have a vision beast. Normal people don't have vision beasts. Only drug-addled madmen like the taxidermist do. Neckties? I guess they do sometimes, officer. But I don't understand how it's anyway. Now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
Little sparkling embers under the window.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time.
She's right. Showing up to work on time is important.
And so is producing something extraordinary.
Something strains her face before she looks up again.
Anything else? Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut. It's about the confidence.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The active and, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Really? Anyway.
Poor guy. Suddenly, you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow. It's hard to say why.
You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All the remaining I have no idea why those skis and blades are still.
They were just the props. Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait.
Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dies out of cobalt. That was my first order. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Renaissance. 1 jam sudah Pak. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.